Hello and welcome 𝚔𝚕𝚕 to your weekly horoscope and taroscope forecast with me, Natalie, spelled N-A-T-A-L-E-E. If someone has sent you this video, they believe there's something valuable for you to gain in one or a few of the messages contained herein. If this is your first time viewing an astrology video, a horoscope is a forecast for future events, just like the weather forecast. Except a horoscope's delineation is based on the planet's position and relationships in the week ahead. This week's horoscope is a unique blend of Western tropical astrology interpretations and what I see when I remotely view into the astrology. If this is your first time viewing a tarot reading, just observe your own body, thoughts, and emotions for any type of reactions, subtle or strong. This means you are resonating with the message and can benefit from its guidance. If you'd like to know when I upload or live stream new messages here on the YouTube, go ahead and subscribe to this channel, WatchNatalee, and toggle the notification bell. If you'd like to connect on social media, I am on TikTok, same handle, WatchNatalee. Go ahead and block and report any other accounts. Lastly, always remember time spirals. All of my messages are timeless. You can learn more about me, my psychic work, how to retain my services, and how to do your own special forecasting down below in the description box, and that there are timestamps for easy navigation. Without further ado, let's open up your week ahead. Monday, June 13th, we've got Mercury entering Gemini, the moon in Sagittarius trining Mars in Aries. Let's talk about Mercury entering the sign of Gemini. This is actually a re-entrance into the sign of Gemini. All of the Mercury retrogrades this year are doing what you've just lived through, where Mercury will start in one sign and then they will retrograde back into the sign behind it and then station direct in that sign and then re-enter, recross that threshold into the sign that it's stationed retrograde in. And when that happens, it's pretty gnarly. And so all of them are like that this year. This is the first one of 2022, so it's sort of take an internal check of how this feels. It's going to be that kind of really big, dramatic flip and shift in perspective. In this case, it has to do with information itself, intel, data, specifically your mentality in regards to your values, what you care about, what you want, what is worth it for you. With Mercury entering Gemini on Monday, June 13th, you want to think back to April 29th specifically. This was a very powerful moment. Mercury entered Gemini April 29th at the same moment that Pluto stationed retrograde at 28 degrees of Capricorn. And not only that, I think it was like it was the day before the partial solar eclipse in Taurus. If that weren't enough, Jupiter was also entering the shadow for their retrograde period, because Jupiter is going to retrograde at the end of July 28th in fact, and be retrograde until November 23rd. That partial solar eclipse, April 30th, was extremely poignant for you. This Mercury retrograde had a lot to do with unpacking some of your old ideology, your old value systems, your old beliefs about your values, beliefs about what you value and why. Mercury re-entering Gemini on Monday, June the 13th, you will have the benefit of having gone back to test some of your theories and see what's stuck. If you had some options coming up for you, Mercury and Gemini energy likes to give more than one option, likes to go to all of the different parties instead of having to choose just one party to go to. Then you could have chosen a path and since then tested it. It was stress tested. Different ideas and thoughts and beliefs were stress tested against what your soul deems important, what your soul deems worthy to live in this incarnation as who you are now. It's adding a lot of juice to some kind of idea or even an inspiration. Maybe for some of you, even a conversation, if there was something very poignant or very meaningful. Maybe you didn't even realize it at the time, but you're realizing that now it was, or maybe it was a hobby that you just sort of dipped your toes in the water of just because you were curious. If it was relationships, whatever it happened to be, now is the time that you can upgrade that. You have had the benefit of this retrograde, the trine to Pluto, and every other thing happening. So when Mercury re-enters Gemini on Monday, you can take that wider view you, because there was that seed that was seeded April 29th and 30th, and it's just growing. So this is another piece that finds its place. You could return to an idea or a pattern with a new perspective or with new information, new intelligence. It's almost like a remix to a classic song that drops and you love it, and you love it for all of these reasons. You love it because it's nostalgic, because it's very familiar to you, yet you also love it because it has a fresh newness to it that you've never experienced before. So you're getting the best of both worlds, where there's like a fresh retake, if you can allow that to happen. It depends on, I don't have your personal chart in front of me, so I can't see exactly how this is delineating for you or how you're living the experience. Just keep that in mind, that if you encounter some similar themes or some similar, the same conversations you circle back to, or anything familiar from around the end of April, just know that you're here to use the added benefit of what May turned out to be for you with these eclipses, helping to really define that Mercury retrograde and take a different path for some of you, take a different perspective, or communicate differently for some of you, think differently for all of us. Just give yourself some time to meditate on that, because it's going to, we're not totally, this is the last week, or this is the last week that we're in the Mercury retrograde shadow, and then we're out of it. So take this as that moment for you to check in with yourself mentally, because that fact that Mercury went back into Taurus and coming back into Gemini, there's the importance of taking something seriously, taking your body seriously, taking what you eat seriously, your health. Maybe Taurus is your workaday sector and you had to take that super seriously and retool how that is to be more effective. You know, whatever these areas rule for you, that's a crucial spot. So one of the ways you can do this is to reverse engineer the Mercury retrograde, writing down everything that went wrong, because anything that went wrong, the delays, the obstacles, those are the most important points for you to go back and look at again. How can you do that differently? How can that be changed? I know change is sort of like a trigger word. Think of it as not change, but opening it up more. Open up another part of your life, or open up one part of your life more deeply, more something that's in a more satisfactory way for you to get more out of it. Also on Monday, that moon in Sagittarius trining Mars in Aries, that's a hot iron. The iron is so hot, whew, you have a lot to gain here for your goal to make something real for yourself, or to achieve something. Also on Monday, June 13th, we have that moon in Sagittarius trining Mars in Aries. This is, the iron is hot. Go ahead and shoot your shot, do your thing. There's a huge gain that you can make, that you can, kind of get for yourself, for a goal of yours, or for, something that you've been shooting for, maybe even as far back as December, because this full moon that you're on, Monday to Tuesday, depending on where you are on the planet, is culminating something that you started December 4th, 2021, as far back as spring of 2020. So the fact that you have this super full moon trining, speaking to Mars and Aries very harmoniously, this is like you've got two really, or you have like a pack of brothers. Like, I don't know if you guys saw Wolfpack, but it's such a good movie. I think it's still free on YouTube. And I think there's like 7 brothers. And it's like having a nice big team of people, of strong people, all working together for the same thing. Or think of 300, how there's 300 men that are all very strong, that are all very unique and individual, and they all believe the same thing. They all have the same goal. They all have the same mentality. They're all perfectly aligned. They've been through so many similar experiences. Everything is like very, the march goes perfectly, in perfect synchronistic, not synchronistic, like simpatico. Everything, all of the steps are kind of perfect, but there's a lot of force and a lot of momentum and a lot of strength behind that unison. So that's kind of what I'm getting with that moon trining Mars in these fire signs. Starting the week off with a bang. Tuesday, June the 14th. On Tuesday, we've got super full moon in Sagittarius. We have the moon in Sagittarius squaring Neptune in Pisces. That's when it perfects. And then the moon will be void for a little bit, and then that moon will enter into Capricorn up here. This super full moon, as I've already mentioned, is finishing a big perspective shift. I don't have this piece of paper written down, but I wrote down the exact moment. I wrote down on Friday evening, like between the 10th and the 11th hour of the evening of Friday. That is when I fully understood and appreciated. That is when I fully appreciated the nodes having been in Gemini and Sagittarius. I didn't really get it. I didn't really appreciate it. I didn't really feel it quite like that moment. And it's at the tail end of that energy. So, you know, if anything doesn't make sense for a couple of years, like, that's okay. It all came together for me. It all just fit. And it's such a full moon energy because it's like everything is reflected from the sun. Everything's very clear. There's no dark shadows or anywhere, no little dark corners. You're gonna have your own like aha moment about either something from December until now, maybe even as far back as spring 2020 until now. But this can extend to reframing your life. This is like the kid that is at college and then gets pulled out of class and then has to go to the police station, and then they realize that this person is kidnapped, and that they've been living their whole life with their parents being their kidnappers, and they just did not know. That is a major reframing of your life. Your life looked one way in one moment, in one day, in 24 hours. Your life looks totally different. Totally different. That's been happening since, you know, spring of 2020 for people. So this is going to be like the last really big for about 18-20 years. Now, the fact that this is, you know, illuminating that Sagittarius area of life, you've been focused on the Geminian area, taking in more intel, taking in more information. The full moon gives us the results of how it's all been and how it's all been going, and you stand at a different perspective. It's a final reveal of what it's really been about for you. It's just personal for you. It's your own subjective viewpoint that is widening to become either more objective, or even your objective viewpoint widening to become more cosmic, whichever it happens to be. Now there's some, you know, some fickleness with this. That's because of the T-square. The sun and the moon are opposed. That's what creates a full moon, and they are perfectly T-squaring Neptune in Pisces, and that aspect with the moon squaring Neptune goes exact on Tuesday. An obvious conclusion, an obvious result with evidence, with support, with proof, with unredacted metadata. All of that clashes with a previously held belief. You wanted to think this way. You wanted to give the benefit of the doubt. So you just let yourself think this, but now you cannot look away from what the results are showing you, what the proof is showing. Everything that I teach based on results. I always say, try it for yourself, have your own experience, because I know it's going to be the individual that has their own individual, unique, spiritual experience that really changes the world in the way that we want it to change. It's not enough that I am here talking like this to you guys. Out in my life, living the life, I am like that. Morning, going throughout my day, going to sleep at night, going throughout my day. And that needs to hold. That higher vibrational new earth, and whatever you want to call it, it has to hold and be consistent throughout. And the only way that happens is when we can take a look at ourselves. Like the moon needs the sun and the sun needs the moon, and they were like these luminaries that work together. So when that happens, when your cognitive dissonance breaks, it doesn't always have to break for the negative. It doesn't have to be that things are a lot worse than you previously thought. It could also be that things are a lot better than you previously thought. So don't put a judgment on it before it's happened, and don't feed into the fear and into the worry, because this could be super duper neurotic, delusional, deceptive, and confusing, gaslighting. And, you know, whatever, we talked about this, when did I talk to you guys at my nights and my Patreon? I think we talked about this back in maybe like No, I think it was March, even as early as March going into April, but definitely for the April monthly is about this Piscean energy of choosing what you want to believe and choosing to ignore facts, choosing to ignore proof, or choosing to ignore what the other person says, choosing to ignore someone that's telling you how they feel. The best response to that, when someone's telling you how they feel and you either disagree with it or you don't think it's valid or you just are confused yourself, the best thing to say, don't gaslight them. They need to feel what they feel, and don't argue your point. Say, I'm not going to argue your feelings. I respect that you feel how you feel. That gives a little bit of a safer space for them, that they're not going to feel, paranoid or something. Because that's what this could be too, is that, some of the paranoia, the neurotic energy. So this can be a bubble that bursts, but it can also be a breakthrough where you can release whatever that cognitive dissonance was that was trying to protect you. That lie was being used by your brain to protect you from something that you were either psychologically unable to process or something that was just too painful for you emotionally. Whatever happens, it's going to clash, but just know that if it's the bubble bursting, know that you're finally ready to handle the truth, that you're ready for a better quality of life because you're now ready to handle the truth. And the truth is always going to be that better quality of life. Whatever can be destroyed by the truth should be. So if you trust that, and if you let it happen, and you let the illusion, the self-deception dissolve, and you're just trusting and you're going with it, you will feel so much more grounded and so much more stable living in the truth. And that's what you're going to be able to take with you for the next 18 years of mental strength, because we just got out of the nodes being in these air and fire signs, and the whole world went through like a mental health crisis through, since then. A huge part of this full moon, that full moon in Sagittarius, is sextiling Saturn retrograde in Aquarius. Because Saturn is squaring the nodes at this time, because the nodes have shifted, this is so very karmic. Like, whatever anyone be like Kal-El, if someone throws the beer in your face, let it be. Leave the tavern. Let it go. It's a very karmic time, and you don't want to accrue more karmic debt. What other people do and say is their energy. It's not changing who you are or what you're doing unless you give it the power to, and then you start to change, and then they see that you've changed, and then they're like, oh my god, I can manipulate this person, and you're like, oh, and it just like becomes this big thing. That Saturn energy is going to make you feel like a little bit victimized. It's going to be a little bit of a push, but not like the way a bully does. A bully pushes on your boundaries to see where that line is, if you have a line, and if you can defend that line, and if you can hold that line. Saturn feels like a bully to people because they don't understand that they always have the power. So Saturn might put the bully in your life, but they're not the bully themselves. That's a different energy. The fact that the full moon is sextiling the Saturn in Aquarius retrograde is saying that you have help, you have support, if you are using this energy consciously, you are the one that's going to be a very mature, responsible person. You're going to have the mature perspective to integrate the new revelations and the new knowledge and the new insights into a framework that benefits yourself, that benefits your identity, your unique individual identity, and fits the masses as far as like your community and where you fit, where you belong, where your energy has its place. So something about, this full moon, attitude is everything, and the pieces find their places. So long as you have it's not just positive. It's if you have a great you attitude, positive for you, what does that look like? Because I feel like when we say like keep a good attitude, a positive attitude, we all have like a picture of something, a picture of something that like maybe a cartoonish vision of what positivity looks like and acts like and feels like, and it's not something that we immediately relate to. At least I don't. When I say positive attitude, I mean you in your life. Maybe it's something as small as knowing you're calling someone back. Maybe you're like, I gotta call someone back, and you're stressing out about it. Having a positive attitude for you, instead of stressing out about it, reframing that and saying, That's hours away. I'm going to deal with what's in front of me. I'm going to enjoy what I'm dealing with in front of me, and I'm going to focus on what's in front of me. And then I'm going to give myself 10 minutes before I go to make the phone call to stress about it and think about it, and then I'll make the phone call. After you work that energy out, that's still being positive. That's still using this full moon in Sagittarius sextiling Saturn and Aquarius energy in a constructive way, having that boundary with yourself. So that Saturn in Aquarius wants that healthy boundary with yourself, with your unique identity, with your individuality, where you allow that, with whom you allow that to shine with. And the fact that it's sextiling the full moon in Sag, you're going to be reframing these ideas, or you're going to be bringing them into like a concrete manifestation. On the unconscious level, you're looking for that energy. You're looking for that stable, responsible, trustworthy, full of integrity energy. So on the conscious level, you're embodying that energy, and you're putting things together, and you're framing it up in your mind from a very wise and perceptive, knowing, positive place. But on the unconscious level, hopefully, because it's a sextile, you attract someone like that. You attract someone that is mature, responsible, helpful, someone that is working with larger groups, or someone like you, or maybe someone that's more of a visionary, someone that's more artistic, that has, maybe they've been doing something artistically for 20 years that you just started, so their ideas are like way beyond yours, and they like really expand your awareness, they inspire you, and they help you grow in your creativity. So hopefully it kind of works there like that. It's interesting because this full moon in Sagittarius is going to immediately go into 2 Saturn ruled signs back to back. So that's like 4 to 5 days of full moon in Saturn ruled signs, just like floating through. So I would take it pretty seriously. Like whatever the big reveal is, or whatever you're realizing, whatever you're understanding, whatever is pushing your personal horizon to stretch, meet it with as much maturity and self-accountability and responsibility as possible, because there's just going to be more of an ask for you to be able to do that. We're going to get into that in a moment. And if you need some help, you would need, I know there's a lot of Capricorns watching, but if like you just need 2 Capricorn friends that are like around your age, and then you just need 2 other Capricorn friends that are like a whole Saturn cycle ahead of you. If you have those 4 friends in your life, the 2 that, and these are higher vibrational Capricorn people. If you have these higher vibrational Capricorn people, the 2 that are your like contemporaries, and then you have 2 that are 30 years older than you, you will be fine in life. Everything will be okay. Everything will be fine. Everything will be fine. You'll be happy. Everything will be fine. Like there's no way that by osmosis, it'll all just start, everything will just come together for you. So, just give yourself that time to sit with it and sit with how you feel. Because then the moon's going to go void, then the moon's going to enter Capricorn for the next 2.5 days. And when that happens, make the most of it. Make the fact that the moon's going to be in Saturn ruled signs for the next 4 to 5 days right after the full moon says that your hard work will go even farther if you take the breaks, because the way to get the best out of that moon in Capricorn is to not treat yourself like just a workhorse, is to really feed and nourish yourself, Cancer energy, to rejuvenate yourself, to go back to the grind and take care of business, because that's what the moon wants in Capricorn. But the way to get the best out of it, to get the most out of it, is to really take care of your needs with that moon in Cancer. When you're feeling overwhelmed, because it's going to be back-to-back Saturn signs, just take care of yourself and you're going to be okay. But like that nurturing feeling, whatever it needs. If you need a sip of juice, go get juice. Don't force yourself to finish something because you're so close to finishing it. Stop. Walk, get the juice, go back, finish the thing. It will refresh you, your work will be better, and your work will go farther. Okay? Wednesday, June the 15th, we have the Mars conjuncting Chiron in Aries. We also have the moon in Capricorn trining Uranus in Taurus. The Mars Chiron conjunction in Aries. this can feel kind of like a sting, an insecurity that's touched upon, a wound that gets brought back up to the surface, and that's pretty scorching. It's an opportunity to overcome a fear or overcome a bully in some cases, but you'll have to use this very consciously. And if you're using that energy consciously, then you can use a new perspective, because this full moon is trining Mars. You can use that new perspective to heal the wound, to make it feel better, or to succeed after a previous failure. You could have failed at that. Chiron is going to make you feel like a failure, okay? Like you're just going to feel, and that Mars is going to activate that. As Chiron moves through Aries, people are going to be remembering where they failed and how, and whenever they took an initiative, or whenever they approached something, whenever they started something, whenever they went for something, and the motivation, when and how it failed or didn't go through all the way. And so with Mars touching this, let it be what you're feeling. Let it feel how it feels, because you can overcome that feeling with a stronger motivation. There's something that you want so much that it's bringing you across that threshold of something that would have maybe stopped you or had stopped you in the past. You can actually, instead of feeling it and then going back, you can feel it and then just go over and continue on. Unconsciously, with the Mars conjuncting Chiron, you could attract violence. You can attract a violent experience into your life. If that's the case, there's probably some repressed anger, you know, something that you're upset about or angry about. Maybe it's just your life in general. Maybe it's not anyone specifically, but that energy has to get out somehow. So you're subconsciously kind of pulsing these vibes out, or it could be an attraction where you attract bullies, or there's some kind of, attack. So this is just attacks, and if people attack, it'll be from a horrible place of wounding and woundedness, and it'll probably be an overcompensation for fractured egos, an overcompensation for hurt egos or frustrated desires as well. So be careful on that front. Also on Wednesday the 15th, we have that nice moon in Capricorn trining Uranus and Taurus. So this is where you can take things to a new level. So that full moon apexed in Sagittarius, giving you a new horizon, showing you a new mountain, giving you a new view, essentially, that kind of encapsulates what the last couple of years have been about for you. Moving into Capricorn with a trine to Uranus and Taurus, you can make the most out of your ability to create new ways to fix things, to start things, to make some structures better, to make some processes better, to, I'm not going to say reinvent the wheel. This would be more like you're adapting things that have been, you can take things that have been tried and tested for centuries and bring them into an updated form and still have these things work for you, still have the best of it, but then just make it even better. And this could even be revolutionizing the actual structures, power structures, for instance, hierarchical structures, any kind of family structures, any kind of structures in your life in the Capricorn area. It could get a nice elevation, a nice boost. Now, if you're using this energy consciously, the moon trining Uranus, this means that if you have that dedicated focus on solutions, if you are focusing on making everything better, getting the most out of your energy, getting the most out of everything that you're learning, then you could be very, very supported, and that support could come through shortcuts. It could come through new inventions or ideas, like shortcuts. If you're focused on the solutions and you're taking that bigger, wider perspective in, and you're kind of going in the week in this fashion, that trine to Uranus could just give you, you've been using a butter knife trying to figure this out, and then they give you like the steak knife, or something that's like makes your tasking way easier, makes your processes way easier. It's way more productive, and it saves you time, energy, money, resources, attention. Thursday, June the 16th, we have the Sun in Gemini trining Saturn retrograde in Aquarius. We also have the Sun in Gemini squaring Neptune in Pisces. And then we have Venus conjoining the North Node in Taurus. So that's a lot. That's a lot on Thursday. Okay, let's start with the Sun trining Saturn. We love it. We love it. We love feeling safe. We love feeling responsible. If you're using this energy consciously, you're thinking very community minded. You're thinking what's best for everyone, what's best for the long term. Where do I fit? Where do I sit? What's the vibe? Taking in a lot of information, but really what will stick out is what's got the glue, what's got staying power, what's got longevity. With crypto in May, it was really, really important for us to see which projects were fallacious, which projects didn't make it because they didn't have a real yield. And they you know, it's not about the propped up markets anymore. It's not about buying up all the houses to manipulate the housing market. It's just, there needed to be a huge flush. There needed to be, and this will continue to happen with all of the markets, all of the supply chains, all of the infrastructure of life, lighting, heating, food, grains, like absolutely everything. And by the time Uranus leaves Taurus, I don't even think we're going to be on paper money by that time. I don't think we'll be on paper money for a whole lot longer, to be honest. So, you know, just like with The Big Short, the movie with Christian Bale, how markets are manipulated by like everyone that's super complicit, it's sort of the same token. It's sort of the same thing. And like, as far as crypto projects, if you don't understand where that nice healthy yield is coming from and understanding how it fits into place, then you're not going to want to vouch for it and invest it and say yes to it. Because just like how I say I vote with my dollar, the same is true for crypto. I vote with my store of value. That's when you say, I approve of this product, I approve of how it was made, I approve of how it's being marketed, I approve of how they treat their employees, I approve of all the list. Every time you make that purchase, that's a vote for something. I'm voting in approval of all of this product, how it's come into being, how it's marketed to me, how I get it, all of that jazz. Gosh, we really got off track. So that Sun in Gemini trining Saturn in Aquarius will speak to what is best for the community, your community, the community that you are a part of. If it's not so much community for you, it's probably just one person that you respect or that whose opinion you value very greatly, someone that you admire. You could be that person for others if you have, you know, little brothers and sisters, or if you have cousins or that kind of thing. There could be a need for someone to step up and be a mature, responsible, trustworthy advocate for them. I know it's like so heavy-handed, but that's what's coming up. Unconsciously, that one will be so clear because people will just want to skip off and evade responsibility, evade what it takes to earn trust, evade what it takes to be respected, evading what it takes to build a solid, reputable reputation. That'll be very clear. Also on Thursday, the Sun will square Neptune. So the moon squared Neptune Tuesday a couple days ago. Now with the sun squaring Neptune, here's the thing. With these transits, they are going to fulfill the way your natal chart is set up. So for instance, this is sun square Neptune. If I were looking at my chart, I would be excited, like, oh, that's going to be great because I'm a sun Neptune person. That square is not going to act like a square for someone like me or for someone like you if you have sun Neptune in your chart. This is going to give a lot of energy, and I in fact like squares a lot because of this, because it gives you more energy to steer. It gives you more energy to use in your, as you declare, as you design in your own free will choice. The fact that we've got sun square Neptune, one hand, of course, this is going to be ideas and discussions and mentalities, information, talking with people, arguing, debating, clashing against ambiguity or straight out dishonesty, some kind of delusional thinking, some kind of, the Neptune in Pisces is casting this vision, this kind of, or this belief system, and that Sun in Gemini is taking new information and trying to be very logical and objective and understand all of the options. So for some reason, this is clashing in your life, in these two areas of your life, and this is part of the full moon energy. This is just when this particular aspect perfects. You've already been in it. You might be still untangling something as far out as Thursday, Saturday, even because of something else going on. Sun, Neptune, if you have any of the crunchy aspects in your chart that are more positive, that's how they're going to work. If you see any of these more positive aspects, but in your chart they're crunchier, that's how they're going to work. Just remember that, because I've been testing this. That Sun square Neptune, on the brighter side, on the lighter side, the conscious, more self-aware side, you can understand the foibles of someone that you might respect, someone that you care about. Someone might have a ding in their reputation, or they might have like a how you see them isn't who they are. Or you could find out that someone's been lying about who they are, lying about what they care about even, or lying about what they prefer, something like that. On the unconscious manifestation, you could be deluding yourself, you could be having like a bit of a neurotic thing going on. There could be fears that kind of overtake you, or you could be feeling very lost and not know why, or not be able to see very clearly, because on the conscious level you'll be able to take whatever that clash is and you can use it to elevate your belief system and to elevate your perspective. It's one of the psychic indicators. So if you also have Sun, Neptune in your chart, that's one of many psychic indicators that connects you with the other realm, that connects you. So for some of you, conscious or unconscious, this can be a very spiritual experience. So it's what you do with that experience that determines your destiny and determines who you are. Of course, Sun, Neptune could also be drugs, alcohol abuse. Be careful of sexual activity, STDs. So just be careful, because you might feel very inspired to trust someone. Just protect yourself as a rule, regardless, and that separate that for yourself, that it's not about trust or not trust. This doesn't mean that I trust you or don't trust you. This is standard issue, protocol. You know what I'm saying? Like make it like that, or whatever it happens to be. So even if you date people, or if you have trouble with your kids, or if you have boundary issues with your family, or if you have work issues, things going on at work, whatever it happens to be, correct it and try to just firm up the boundaries as much as possible. Like, not acceptable, and don't leave any wiggle room, because that Neptune energy will look for that. And actually Gemini energy too will look for that crack in the self-confidence. They'll look for the crack in your self-esteem. They'll look for the crack in your conviction, in your reserve, and they wedge the crowbar to just blast it open, and it just, it dissolves your boundary, or you're talked out of something. And so just be really careful on that Sun square Neptune. Also take a look, see what it's doing in your chart. If you have a positive Sun, Neptune in your chart, this is probably, like for me, what I'm looking at Thursday, I'm probably going to have some wow, spiritual experience. Like, that's so par for the course for me. But, oh, I know what it's going to be. Okay, actually, Thursday is class. So Thursday is going to be tarot talk. So that will actually be a very lovely class, because me being a Sun, Neptune person, that is also spirituality, that is also very much combining with the Sun. That's a spiritual person. So it's going to be great. And I'll be able to, what I convey on a Sun, Neptune will be something that will sink into you without you having to pay such special attention to every single word that I'm saying. It'll immediately get downloaded into your subconscious mind. Like I'm just looking at the Sun Neptune transit for me. So, because that's the porousness of Neptune energy. Also Thursday, we've got that Venus meeting the North Node. So excited for this. That's going to be so much fun. Much more grounded, much more realistic gains that you're making. The get of when Venus meets the North Node is going to be so much better. The last time Venus met the North Node, when it was in Gemini, was I think sometime in 2020. But that whole year, Venus was squaring Neptune in Pisces like 3 or 4 times, and so it wasn't as good as it is now. Even with the Saturn square, I don't care. This is still preferable to me. So this is much more, like I said, much more grounded. There's going to be such a more tangible, physical, can hold it in your hands get that you're getting from this energy. So it should be happy, pleasing, aesthetic, enjoyable, fun, romantic, charming, lovely, beautiful, or really lucky. Like, it could be really lucky. Like that, like Venus being in Taurus could be just give you so much of the good stuff. Friday, June 17th. Okay, so on Friday, happy Friday, we have the moon in Aquarius sextiling Jupiter and Mars in Aries. We also have the moon in Aquarius squaring Uranus and Taurus. Okay, the sextile to Jupiter and Mars in Aries. This is nice. You can apply some changes that you're excited for. There's new things coming in that are keeping you feeling very fresh and excited for whatever this culmination is, whether this has been some kind of project that you've picked up consciously or subconsciously. So you know, finishing that out, you're ready to kind of get started on the new things that are changing because of what you now know. For instance, I plan to do my new projects at the top of the day. I'm so excited. I am so jazzed. The energy is there and I'm just so into it. So I work on my new projects at the top of the day, and then I layer in the projects I do frequently later in the day so that my energy pours as it wants to, as it's guided to. It's just more natural for me. I tried to do it in the reverse, where I tried to do what I normally do at the top of the day and then save the new projects for later. And my squirmy little body just didn't want it, just couldn't do it. And it was really, it took me more time and energy and frustration and, you know, just disciplining myself to sit still and do the thing. And I was more tired at the end, like it just put me out of whack. Then I had less energy for what I was really gunning for. Then by that time, my inspiration was like, I needed to like repair myself and sort of just refocus and recenter. And I had to do some energy cleanup, and like, I could tell it just wasn't for me. So that's how I do it. And then it just flows. So however your energy runs, how you flow, you can look at your natal chart, book a consigliere session or a counseling session, and we can look at your chart. We can go over anything and everything. That question though is one that probably goes under the radar a lot because we don't normally think to ask something like that. We want to know about love, career, money, romance, and all the fun stuff, but that is really going to make or break the quality of your moment-to-moment day. So make sure that you're being as kind as possible to yourself so that you can capitalize on an energy like this, Moon in Aquarius sextiling Jupiter and Mars in Aries, because you will either be able to connect with other people in a fresh way where you are on fresh energy that are also excited for what you're excited for, or you'll have that fresh energy to apply towards what you are excited and curious about in a way that benefits everyone. With that Moon in Aquarius energy, could also just be on the internet or online. Also on Friday, we have that Moon in Aquarius squaring Uranus and Taurus. How I saw this was in Midnight in Paris, how he tries to show Rachel McAdams the carriage and she leaves before the carriage pulls up. It's like that. So on the conscious level, you get in the carriage. You just let yourself be. You just go with the flow. Okay, there's a wrench in the workday. Okay, I took an alley and someone's unloading their whatever, and it's gonna take me 10 minutes to get around this guy. Whatever. Going with the flow, with the interruptions or the new things, and assuming it's in your best interest. Immediately, this must be in my best interest. This must be working out for me. This must be averting me from an accident that I might have gotten into leaving the alley or something. You know what I'm saying? So you just go with the flow. You're guided by your curiosity and your excitement, and you just accept and assume everything's happening in your best interest. On the unconscious level, you miss the adventure. You go home to the hotel after the fact and you just have this interruption, what you feel like is an interruption in your life, kind of like the Mercury retrograde stuff, where you just feel like it was just delay after obstacle after delay after obstacle and you didn't get anything out of it and everything just went wrong, and now you have less and now you have nothing and everything sucks and boo. You know, you miss the good stuff and you just have your rumpled feathers. You might just be in a shock that you can't perceive how all of that was working for you. That's all. And so you might just feel like emotionally like upset. That's all. Saturday, June 18th. We've got Venus in Taurus squaring, we have Venus in Taurus squaring Saturn in Aquarius, and we have Mercury leaving shadow. Yay. Venus in Taurus sextiling Neptune in the Pisces. On Saturday, we've got, let's start with the Venus square Saturn. So this is the only time of the month that that's just the womp womp womp. And that's, now look at your chart again to see if you have Venus Saturn connecting in your chart, because if you have Venus trine Saturn in your chart, this is going to be great for you. You're going to freaking love this energy right off the bat. But generally, if this is kind of just a little no or a little like a bummer, you know, but Saturn just wants to make it better later. So what might feel like a no right now will actually be a yes next time. Let's say next month, or when Venus is about to enter Gemini, and they will eventually trine Saturn. So I wouldn't take anything too seriously, anything that's kind of a downer around this day, Saturday, because That's just going to, if there is anything kind of a downer energy or disappointing, specifically regarding love, finances, affection, or approval, or authority approval, if anything goes a little bit wonky Saturday, it's just for you to go back and fix something, because then it'll be a trine and you'll be happy and it'll all be good. That's all. Also, Mercury leaves shadow. Now we're finally covering new ground after having run over that territory in May, end of April, all of May, first half of June. So, you know, celebrate. I would say mentally reflect on how your values have shifted and how, yeah, it's actually perfectly that. So Saturday would be a great day. And it might be a little bit more sobering with that Venus-Saturn square, to think about how your values have shifted and to let yourself, like, give yourself permission to grow mentally. Give yourself permission to think new thoughts and to think new ideas and to, you know, talk to new people. It's okay to, you know, it's okay to just keep an open mind and listen. So, you know, hopefully there's more stuff coming through. Venus in Taurus also sextiles Neptune in Pisces. This, I feel, is watering the plant. Just watering the plant, healthy growth. Make sure that you are visualizing, actively visualizing, because, like, happy things, because the subconscious does not know the difference. The subconscious cannot tell the difference between reality and non-reality. Sorry if that freaks you out, but it's the truth. If you just think about how someone hates you all day, that's what you're going to believe. That thought over and over will become a belief. If you replay arguments over and over, if you think the worst about people, that's why, like, this Gemini energy has been really important to work out before the nodes totally shifted, because that's like talking to everybody, right? Gemini is talking to everybody, but Sagittarius is only going to care about talking to someone that can provide a sophisticated conversation that is up to their level, that is like what they really want. So Gemini is more indiscriminate. Sagittarius is more discriminating, because that's where they make the laws. And then they move into Capricorn. Capricorn enforces those laws. With the energy of Saturday, attitude is everything. For this whole week, attitude is everything. Pieces falling into place. Just hold that positive attitude for you and pick a scene for yourself. Write up a scene for yourself, like as I explained in the example before, whatever positivity looks like for you in your life, so that you can relate back to that. Or even just take times in your life when you have been positive and it has worked out for you. You want to use that. You want to use something as specific and detailed as possible. Sunday, June the 19th, we have Moon in Pisces squaring Mercury in Gemini. We also have Mercury in Gemini sextiling Jupiter in Aries. Let's start with the Moon square to Mercury. So now the Moon has some relief after back-to-back Saturn ruled signs in Pisces. Now we just want to let loose. We want to just let go. We just want to release and let go, essentially, and surrender and just merge with the oneness. And emotionally, you're going to be very tuned into your karma specifically. So in the square to Mercury in Gemini, you may want to daydream and snack. You may want to just be comfortable. You may want to be alone. You may want to kind of watch movies all day or listen to music all day, or whatever your thing is. Maybe you like to just skateboard and listen to your headphones, or like whatever that happens to be, but people are asking you questions, people are talking to you, people need things from you. There's details, or people need your signature, and it's like all these things at once. So you might get a little bit of an interruption in your Sunday. If your Sunday you wanted to just, like, you know, lay out, there's something that's kind of bothering, or there's something that you're thinking about that you're still not feeling good about it quite yet. Consciously, you can make time for both. If you're using this energy on a more conscious level, make time for the daydreaming and snacking, and then make time for answering all of those calls and emails and text messages or whatever it happens to be. And do that without judging yourself and letting yourself go as you're guided, because that Moon in Pisces just needs to just do its thing. It just needs to go as it's guided. Then you'll be okay. Now, unconsciously, you could be very scattered, you can be very escapist, you could be dropping the ball because you're trying to force yourself to show up to the thing or answer the emails and calls, but it's not quality work, or it's not a quality response, or it's not your personal best, and you're dropping the ball because you're actually trying to escape it. You're actually trying to not deal with it, but you're forcing yourself to deal with it. So then it's either half-assed, or you drop the ball with certain things, or it's not a good vibe, and it's just, and so you might even come across misunderstood if you take action on that energy. Also on Sunday, that moon in Gemini sextiles Jupiter in Aries. So just ask and you could be lucky. You never know. You never know. I like that. Consciously, you could see opportunity, or you could be led to opportunity, or a person, something, just by chatting and socializing. There could just be some nice synchronicity. You make a new friend, something as simple as that. Unconsciously, your next mental evolution sort of presents itself through someone else talking about an idea, through someone else taking an initiative, through someone else taking a big action. It inspires you, they're around you, and it serves as your inspiration. Let's take a look at your tarot for the week ahead. Okay, let's see what this week has in store for you as we dig into your tarot scope, opening up the energies of your week ahead. Let's take a look at the strongest energy, please. Tell me about the message I'm here to deliver in this week ahead. Thank you. Top card, Four of Cups. Another one popped out. And the Ace of Swords. I'm getting someone going to a garden that they haven't been to in a really long time. And this could be someone's personal garden. Like maybe you go to your mother's house or grandmother's house or something, and it's their garden that you go back to, but it was never yours to begin with. Okay, so first energy is the strongest, the Four of Cups and the Ace of Swords. So this is an honest, critical conversation, or revelation or truth coming out regarding what is not working, what is there but not useful. There might be something extra, I feel. It feels like, it doesn't feel like you're rejecting something for something else. It really just feels like there's extra of something that you're saying no to. Or it feels like there's more. Yeah, it just feels like you're not interested in any more of this. Any more is kind of what I'm getting with that Four of. And we're going to open this up more, don't worry. Okay, next energy out. Tell me about the next energy, please. Thank you. A bunch of cards. Justice. We've got the Three of Swords and the King of Swords. That's a lot of swords. Ooh. Okay, this is a lot. Okay, so this could definitely be a week of life-changing conversations and discussions, really surrounding the right thing or the appropriate thing. This could even mean letting go of some workers or some people that have just been sort of extra, that they're not really needed, or their work isn't super justified, or they're, if you're an employer, or, for some of you, if you're single, this is an analysis of something of your life, that you have enough of everything that you need, and you're trying to correct an imbalance. You're trying to correct an imbalance because you've had too much of something, and that could be as mundane as too many chocolate chip cookies. Psych, you can never have too many chocolate chip cookies. But you know what I mean. Let's get the last energy, because I want to start opening this up. Any last energy? Ooh, yes, we do. We've got the Hermit and the Ten of Pentacles. Bottom of the deck, it looks like the Ten of Swords, the Page of Wands, and the Ace of Cups. Another ace. So you have the Ace of Swords and the Ace of Cups. Someone may come to you. It depends if you are this King of Swordsy type person, or if you're more of this Page of Wands type person. Someone may come to you with an extremely emotional confession or revelation. Something really pains them to discuss this, or to admit this, or to kind of come through with this information, or, you know, what this is to say. It's a painful thing to talk about. It's a painful thing to express. Overall, this has to, okay, you might be the one, getting this communication or getting this message. You might be the one getting this message, and it would disappoint you, and you're working hard to correct the imbalance, to correct some kind of, and it's interesting because it looks like you're going really deep within, thinking so hard about how you really want your future to be. Like looking around the dinner table in 30 years and trying to think to yourself, who do I really want there at Christmas? Like, you know, that's kind of how I frame my mind's eye throughout the year. You guys know that I post Halloween and Christmas things like all year round, and it's like that Christmas spirit should be the normal spirit of life. We should normally be kind to each other in all superficial instances as a given, not just at Christmas. And so anyway, so you know, you're but that's kind of where you are. You're thinking, you know, who you want in your life, where you want to retire, how you want to grow, what you want to grow into, who, you know, you just, you know, it's a little bit very, very personal. We'll use both the astral and the tarot of sexual magic, but for the first position, we're going to use the rose gold astral for the Four of Cups and the Ace of Swords, please. Thank you. Okay, we have the Four of Swords, more swords. I kind of feel like this person might also want to apologize to you after this, I don't know, confession or admission, and that might even be what you're not really into, or it's just like extra. That could be what I'm picking up, like it's just too much. You know, all of this, it's just, so you might be taking a break, or, you know, have a big discussion and then time to think after the fact. Both of you or all of you in the situation, whatever happens to be. Let's take a look at the King of Swords, the Three of Swords, and Justice. King of Swords, Three of Swords, Justice, please. Oh gosh. We have the Queen of Swords. So either you and this person are going to come to some realistic nuts and bolts agreements on how to move forward given the situation, and kind of making the best out of it. And or some of you could be meeting someone entirely new that helps you correct the situation's imbalance, or meeting someone new that acts as either a professional or a friend, maybe both, in regarding to correcting some mistakes. This could even be legally, like I'm seeing contracts being rewritten or agreements being rewritten, maybe trusts and wills and inheritance things, and like, you know, like things could be kind of gone back over because of something disappointing. Let me take a look with the Tarot of Sexual Magic into this Three of Swords specifically, because that looks like a juicy heart right there. Tell me about the Three of Swords, please. It's the Ten of Cups. Ten of Chalices. And you have the Ace of Chalices, which you have in the other overall, so I'm going to take it. Okay. So you have double Ace of Cups, and you have the Ten of Cups. Ace of Chalices, ecstasy, the magic of the comb and the brush. Loving magic, crowned by success, satisfaction, festivities, good reasons to be happy and in love. Once upon a time, I'm sure it was like that. This is very emotional. That might be part of what is said here too. And now we're at the Ten of Cups, the Ten of Chalices. Attachment, the magic of the chalice. The attachment between partners orients the relationship towards continuity, and it is necessary to form a happy family. So something happened to the attachment. something happened to the partnership with that Ten of Swords. This is not the first thing. This is going to be speaking to something that's been ongoing for some time. And one of these, someone is getting taken aback. Someone is, you know, that the shock of it is going to be a difficult adjustment. But on the other hand, I feel like both individuals, being in the King and the Queen of Swords energy, everyone is aware, everyone is awake, everyone is cognizant, everyone is seeing the same evidence, seeing the same proof, seeing the writing on the wall, and going to make the best out of a crummy situation. And this could even be family corrections. Here's the thing with Saturn and Aquarius is it's challenging everyone to live and embody who you are authentically in that Aquarius area of life and make no compromises when it comes to you being you and being authentic, expressing yourself from the highest truth, from the highest everything, and then finding your tribe or creating your tribe, your group of people, your allies, people that appreciate you, that see exactly who you are, your unique self, and affirm you and support you and reinforce that you-ness. The shadow side of that Saturn in Aquarius is a super unaware, crystallized ego, an ego structure, and going along to get along, conforming to the masses, being a rebel without a cause, rebelling for the sake of rebelling, doing things the opposite way or the different way just because it's the opposite or the different way. I don't know why, I just feel like Saturn in Aquarius has something to do with this reading and this week ahead for you. It's kind of like this just feels like something's just been inauthentic, like something just hasn't been natural. That's what it feels like. It feels like something just hasn't been natural for you or for this person, and the forcing it to try and fit has been doing a lot more harm than good, and it's actually led to a breakdown in a connection, familial, business, romantic, or otherwise. Last thing I'm going to say about Saturn and Aquarius right now is that group mentality, that tribal mentality. Listen, we're all born into families that we chose to work out our karma with, and not necessarily to live happily ever after. There's karma with these people, and if it's meant to be enjoyed in a happy, lighthearted way where everyone supports everyone else's unique, authentic individuality and celebrates them and roots for them and cheers for them, and everyone just wants everyone to be happy and successful, fantastic. But if that's not the case, and you're working out different karma, I'm saying that because we have the Ten of Cups and the Ten of Pentacles. This is very looking, like I said, looking out at the future and deciding, you know, if you're trying to decide, well, you know, what do I want to do with this juncture in my life? I have an opportunity to do this, but do I want to stay doing this? Or, you know, how do you want that kind of end moment or that bottom line? For me, it's you know, Christmas dinner, but maybe for you it's something else, and it's like, oh, I want this person there, I want that person there, I want this environment, I want this type of person there, I want these type of people around me, I want this setup, and that's a, you know, you have that vision for your life. When you're born into a tribe, you could be incorrectly programmed that's not honoring you, that's not authentically you. And it's just like wearing energy that's not yours is like wearing a suit that's custom made for somebody else and trying to fit yourself into this suit. It's just not going to work, and you're going to feel very uncomfortable. That's kind of what I'm getting with this energy, where let's take the family example. If you're raised to be snarky and it's just not who you are, but they all turn against you and they're snarky to you, if you try to be kind and open-minded and open-hearted, and then you're the scapegoat, they make you feel crummy for being kind. And you know, one of the things that really struck out to me about Amber Heard's audio is whenever he was doing something kind, she would attack him and say, oh, you're being so admirable, you're so admirable, look at you, you're such a good person. And you know, she just like totally reframed that kindness or that, you know, that good feeling, reframed it in like a totally twisted way. It kind of feels like Like maybe someone's gone Amber Heard on you or something, like, you know, or maybe you grew up with like, I don't know, like a bunch of Disney villain evil aunties that are all like little Amber Heards, and you just grew up not caring about any of that stuff, but they care about stupid stuff, so you just grew up being snarky like them, and then it's like ruining your life as you live as an adult, and you're like, wow, you know, this is really ruining my life, and it's not even who I am anyway, and you're real frustrated, and you know, but you're facing alienation, familial alienation, like, oh my god, but then I won't fit in with my super low vibing little clan I was born into. What do I do? You know, it could be totally, that's kind of the vibe that I'm getting from this. And this looks like something like the straw that breaks the camel's back in that company environment, family situation, marriage, best friendship that was slowly degrading and deteriorating, whatever this happens to be for you. Let's take a look at the Hermit and the Ten of Pentacles. Thank you. The Nine of Cups. Oh. Ooh, hold on, let me look at this before you... Okay, you can see it. I like this tension. Look at how he's got hold of both of her hands like that. That is interesting. Okay, let's see the Nine of Cups. Euphoria. The magic of the lantern. The light of the lantern ensures the triumph of love, overwhelms the senses, and dispels rivals and hesitations. The light of the lantern ensures the triumph of love, overwhelms the senses, and dispels rivals and hesitations. Euphoria. When you sit with it and you think alone, long and hard about it, this is the work that no one can do for you. This is the work that you do. This is where the work really counts for so much, when you sit with your own energy and you're alone and you're really contemplating and you're real thinking just hard and seriously and being really sober and real with yourself. That's where leaps, jumps, and bounds. You're honestly like really meditating on your own personal happiness and how you want that future to be and what it can really look like. And you may be analyzing all of the ways that you may have been limiting yourself, maybe in part due to other people or the clan you were born into, but something is happening this week that's making you stop all that and making you step outside of all that, because you're looking at your life. It's almost like if you were born into a family that all bully each other, and everyone's a bully, everyone bullies each other, everyone scapegoats each other. Maybe you went along to get along to stay alive, and it's accepted in your little like family group, and you were, you know, closer to your family than you were with friends, and then you're in your adulthood and you're having life issues and problems, maybe with people at work, maybe you're having issues with your spouse, maybe you're having issues with your children, maybe you're having issues with your grandchildren, maybe this could be all something that just kind of wakes you up to realize that you're still in some toxic or even just immature patterning of that family clan dynamic, and they're not paying the price for it. You are. You're an autonomous individual living your own individual unique life. It looks like either a break from some kind of group or a break from some kind of at least vision for yourself as part of this family group, or at least the affinity that you share with people that you choose to be friends with out of your own free will, and seeing how that's just not what this other either group is, or friend group, or family tribe, or marriage, or you and your best friend don't believe the same thing anymore. It's kind of like that. And this looks like you're getting the strength and the perspective and there's something inarguable too. Like there's going to be some results from this. There's going to be some results that you just will not. Here's what I'll tell you. The proof is in the pudding. What I tell all of my people, all of my acolytes, is to test it. Everything that I teach you guys, all the techniques, test it. You have to watch it work. You have to see it work. You have to have your own experience of it. Anything new that I learn, I test it. I'm just really driven by empirical results. Astrology, test it. Empirical results. That's my approach to everything, is empirically. You know, my moon in Aquarius likes to play scientist in the white lab coat and experimenting and testing out theories and trying things. And when it passes the test, great. And if it doesn't, just let it go. I feel like I've been talking forever. Let's go ahead and get your guidance. My throat is really scratchy too. So sorry I'm talking it's full moon in Sagittarius. I can talk your ear off on the full moon in Sagittarius because this is the typical rock stars surrounded by the campfire sharing their stories. Oriole, bottom of the deck, a new creative venture is on the horizon. See it as a positive change. A new creative venture. We love to see that. We love it. Okay. And you have the Loon. Pay attention to your dream time. Messages of guidance are drifting in. Okay, so another thing, I'm changing a lot on the Patreon, so make sure to check out all of the tiers. One of the things is lucid dreaming. I'm making it a requisite course. We're gonna have it as practical magic this month, the lucid dreaming in depth at the end. Let's see, that'll be Thursday, June the 30th. So anyone, that's gonna be a Patreon. That's a Patreon exclusive just for the high priestesses and hierophants. Everyone's just gonna be on the same lucid dreaming, on the same wavelength, on the same path. So that's going to be layered into everything else that we're doing. That's on the 30th on Thursday. Tarot Talk is this Thursday the 16th. And then Body Language Reading and Intuition Study is going to be Thursday the 23rd. Reminder for anyone to do their homework. Do your homework, please, and thank you. And yes. Sorry, back to your message. Loon, pay attention to your dream time. Messages of guidance are drifting in. Even if you're not lucid dreaming, I have a super quick, like how to lucid dream in 15 seconds up on my TikTok. But for those of you who are just going to be dreaming normally, watch those dreams, remember those dreams. There are messages that are trying to get to you through your dream time. So just pay attention to those specifically, but they will probably be very strong and very emotional as you wake up. So just give yourself that moment as you're waking up to think about it. Think about where you just came from. Think about what you were doing, and try to just, if it's fading really fast, just pick one detail to remember. Don't worry about anything else. One detail. Because I found that sometimes just holding on to that one detail will trigger the memory of the whole entire dream. So just try it. Just try it. Okay, my loves, I will see you guys again on Wednesday, the 15th, for our next Psychic Tarot message. Until then, my loves, many beautiful blessings upon all of your beautiful heads, darlings. Mwah.